Hi, my name is Hannah. I'm a student and co-founder of Imara Advocacy. I think the race discrimination case gives the police an opportunity to step up. The settlement outlined key actions that they would take, and if they take those with a genuine spirit, then it could be a first step in really building bridges between the police and the rest of the community. But I think the ball is very much in the police's court about how they undertake the outcomes. So the biggest thing is that measures that ensure accountability are instituted. Whether that's an independent body to investigate claims against the police, or whether it's a stop and search receiving policy, we just need something that increases accountability. My main message would be that what we want as a community is more accountability. We want for our rights to be protected, just like any other individual in this society. We're not asking for special treatment, we're not asking for Africans to be treated differently. What we're asking is that you're held accountable when you don't treat us the same way. To the broader African community, it's just, keep on doing what you're doing, keep on supporting this cause and causes that affect you, because it's only through your persistence that change will eventuate.
My name's Tamar Hopkins. I'm a Principal Solicitor at the Flemington and Kensington Community Legal Centre. It's really important that the community is aware of these two inquiries that have come out of the race discrimination claim. So I think this was a really important opportunity for people to actually hear about those two inquiries and how to participate. But this is really the beginning of a whole lot of work that needs to happen over the coming months. Well, this is the first time Victoria Police have agreed to do a public inquiry into their practices of training and also field contacts. So previously we've had these private inquiries that have been done internally and we haven't seen anything. This is actually going to be a public inquiry where the community can see the outcome. So that's really, really important. The other thing is that this is extraordinary as a settlement coming out of a race discrimination case, because it really shows that this is an inquiry arising out of that context, and that the police have agreed to run this inquiry arising out of that context is very, very significant. The other quite extraordinary thing is that race discrimination claims are being made around the world, and they frequently settle. So this is actually a common result. But what they usually do is what we've seen is settlements where police agree to, say, start a receipting campaign where for a year they'll collect data on stop and search. So that's a fantastic result. In another case, there was a result where a civilian review board was actually set up after an inquiry. So some really significant results have come out in other places around the world. We're really concerned that if there was going to be a settlement here, it would just be sort of under the table, no one to know anything about it, and our clients were absolutely convinced that they wanted this to be public. They wanted it to have maximum impact. So I'm absolutely thrilled that that's happened, but I do think that it's now up to us as the community to keep Victoria Police honest and to ensure that this inquiry produces some real changing to policing on the streets, so that when the outcomes are introduced and the police start these new practices, that we can actually go out and speak to young people and say, are you experiencing racial discrimination? Is that continuing? And if we then can hear people say, no, it's over, the police have made positive steps, then we will know we've achieved success. That's a really good question. So far in the media we've heard Commissioner Ken Lay saying that racial profiling does not occur. I think that the statistics that have come out of the racial discrimination case show that racial profiling does occur. So I think that's a concern, that he is denying the existence of racial profiling given those statistics and given the widespread anecdotal evidence that it exists. So that's a concern. However, we've got to say that report comes at a time when they were trying to settle a claim without any admission of liability. So maybe that was sort of a strategic call linked to that case. However, if he's to have an open mind about this outcome, I think he has to have an open mind about the fact that racial profiling exists. It's not just a perception issue, which is what he's trying to say. This is a real issue. And if he really wants to demonstrate that this is not a real issue, then he needs to start collecting data that shows that every single stop, so that we can see if there's a racial disparity. Victoria Police don't yet collect that data. So if he really wants to change people's perceptions, he needs to start collecting data, and he needs to make some serious changes as well. So I guess the other concern is that this is an inquiry that's going to be conducted by Victoria Police rather than by someone independent. We were hoping that the Chief Commissioner would appoint someone independent outside Victoria Police to run the inquiry. However, we hope that it will take into account some of the expertise that exists around the world on racial profiling and actually is a really broad, we hope that it's going to be a really broad inquiry. A couple of things about that. The existence of stop and search receipting and the data collection in the UK has done a huge amount for transparency. So we can now go to a graph that the police data gets fed into on the internet, and we can see that in this borough, in this part of the UK, that police are stopping Africans 6 times more than the wider community. And we can go to another borough and see that, oh, here it's 4 times more. Or another borough, oh, here it's 2 times more. So we can see this change in different policing boroughs in the UK and their racial disparities. Now that's an incredibly important statistic. Not only does it tell us there is racial disparities, but it shows that there are differences in cultures between different places. Now, I think that's very valuable. And I don't think it's right to say that that is not useful or that that's not assisting change. The other thing is that that data allows the Equal Opportunity Commission in the UK to focus in on those boroughs where there is huge amounts of racial profiling and do some serious work with those police forces. So I think this is a very effective procedure. It may not have results overnight, but I think it really goes a long way to increasing transparency and assisting us to see where the real problems lie. So I think we need a really serious commitment to stop and search receipting and data collection, and for that information to be reported on publicly. I also think we need a serious commitment to anti-racism training within Victoria Police, so not just cross-cultural training, which we've seen leads to prejudice, but actually looking at all of those biases, both overt and implicit biases that the police have. So I think that would be an incredibly valuable thing that would come out of this process. We also want to see a move towards independent investigation of police complaints, so taking that away from Victoria Police. So I would want this inquiry to recommend to the government that it introduce the independent investigation of police complaints.
Nazangi mayele yako sepelisa yote nalamukia batungu itana na kotisa mbara nabukisa nkilo bafle na maboko mangaboko nabaki pungu misato pona yebi olingaka banyama lwemba ye zwa pecha kuyo na lakisie maloba ya bolingo alobelaka yo na absence nanga ada très fort, les boss. Soki ex-lava, moni epekisaka te. Pena mitie maumbwa champi bolava. Kwatareka, eno ya paembeza karese. Yalo boko mbenga. Otinelinga malobalobi na ndako ya kotalanga. Mbatanelaka mokonzi topi ya rouge ya lokumu. Natandeli yo simisi pe pantalo na nga lwemba. Utana bala tina ndako na ngai. Puta molela edoe.